Okay, good evening, everyone. We're just gonna, as always, wait a couple of minutes for people to start tuning in. Okay, I'm gonna start with the welcome and just let people keep getting connected with us. Good evening again, everyone. Thank you for being here once more with us. This is our session number 6 of this series of masterclasses with Elvira and Jasmine to pitching for your next job. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Carla Garza. I am part of the Somos 21 Sydney chapter here in Australia, but I'm originally from Mexico City. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land here in Sydney. Um, this is the home of the Gadigal people from the Eora Nation, and I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. For a little bit of context, also especially for those people that it's the first time tuning in with us, or they don't know anything about what Somos 21 does. Somos 21 is a non-profit organization that seeks to empower its members to create value by connecting and promoting collaboration between people from Australia and Latin America through our digital platform and events in the different cities that we have presence. Normally, during regular times, not during COVID, we organize events like
in face-to-face
events. That's right. Sorry, I went blank. Thank you, Jasmine. Face-to-face events. But we are trying to adapt to the current situation, so that's why we have been hosting these virtual events. So we are aware that the COVID-19 pandemic has affected everyone, but especially the Latin American community living here in Australia. So as an organization, we really wanted to know how we could help. So after we did a little bit of research and launched a survey to understand what were the people's needs and concerns of our fellow Latinos, we understood that the Latinos have been really impacted in terms of their employment status. So a lot of people lost their jobs, and this is why Elvira and Jasmine came together to design this webinar for you guys to help you get back on your feet, update those resumes, and help you guys to get ready for future job interviews that you're gonna need to go through. So before I introduce Elvira and Jasmine, I want to let you guys know that we love when you guys ask us questions. So please feel free, if you have any comments or questions or any concerns, just write it in the comment section, and I'll make sure to read them out to Elvira and Jasmine throughout the event. Elvira Lourenco is the founder of ELAJ Consulting Services. She has extensive knowledge in human resources management. She also happens to speak 5 languages, including Spanish, and she has managed over 150 people from very diverse backgrounds whilst living and working in China, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Latin America. These experiences have given her a unique understanding of business culture and a negotiation approach. On the other hand, Jasmine Sliger is a cross-cultural organizational and counseling psychologist who is also a mediator, facilitator, and executive coach who happens to also own her own company. With a solid background in human resources, learning, and development, she has helped hundreds of leaders and teams around the globe. She has worked with over 100 companies in Australia and internationally, and she has developed a lot of recruitment programs. So as you can see, guys, these ladies have a lot of knowledge and they have a lot of experience, and they have been sharing with us really, really great tips. Even I've been really intense with my notes because they really have a lot of value to give to you guys tonight. So welcome, guys. Thank you to be here with us once more.
Hello, hello. How are you? Hi, Elvira. ¿Cómo estás?
Hi, muy bien.
Good.
And very happy to be here again.
Good. And Carla, how are you doing tonight? Good?
I'm really good.
Good.
Really, really good. Thank you.
All right. So as this is number 2 in our interviewing skills. Again, we have all the other sessions on live Facebook, so please feel free to look at building your resume. We did leave a resume off that we wanted to do, and we're going to keep this person's name obviously confidential. But Elvira was going to work on that. And so, Elvira, do you want to talk to us about the resume, original resume, and maybe look at what you did?
Yep. The original resume. So I will just go straight into the changes that have been made. But the original resume had a lot of information about the person. And it had extensive information in different areas of expertise. And we thought that having too many areas of expertise can be confusing to someone who is receiving your resume, and they will not do the job of seeing where you fit in the organization. So it is your job, I think Jasmine and I, what we have discussed during these sessions is that it is your job to tailor and customize your resume for the job that you are looking for. And it is important that you simplify your resume. And I think one of the things that we discussed with Jasmine is first impressions are the lasting ones.
Yeah.
So in the very first few seconds that someone looks at your resume, it needs to jump at them and say, yes, this is the person that I want. So this particular resume had very interesting information. So it had hospitality and journalism as 2 areas that this person obviously has a lot and extensive experience in. And Jasmine and I will say, I made an executive decision to go.
Good going, yeah.
I made an executive decision to go with journalism because I looked at the resume and all the information and the experience that was in there. And I think that from journalism, I tried to extract as much of what was relevant to be able to help with a resume. But what I'll do is I'll share it with the screen, the changes that have been made.
Sure.
Okay, so let's have a look. Can everybody see that?
Yes, I can. Yep, okay. That's great. Thank you.
All right, so one of the things that I saw about this resume was the executive summary. So the executive summary was worked in such a way that there was quite a few words and sentences that were taken out. And it was simplified to say that I am a working professional with 5 years experience in customer service and administration in Australia. So you don't want to say that you have 5 years experience in hospitality. Hospitality means that you have customer service experience.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And even though you might have been sort of leading teams, training teams, that's administration. So you are administering human resources, or there is an administration aspect to that. So we thought that we'd simplify that sentence. And with many years experience in public relations, marketing, and journalism, I found that wow, because there is so much of it that is relevant to today, especially with COVID-19, especially everything having to go online, everything being through Zoom or any other social media or digital platform where we have to connect and communicate with people. And I think this expertise is very relevant to what we are going through today.
Absolutely.
Look, Jasmine and I and Carla are going through live Facebook to be able to deliver this to you. So, you know, perhaps many years back, we would have, or perhaps last year, we would have organized a conference where you would have registered and turned up.
Yep, and we would have done a workshop together.
Exactly, the one that we did in February.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So things are changing a lot. And I think your CV brings that, and you have to highlight it. My seasoned ability to connect groups through engaging communication pieces. This is really good. So communication pieces, what are the communication tools, methodologies that exist? That's going to bring that out to someone that will look at your CV.
Sure.
Such as, yeah, what do you think, Jasmine?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I just think it's fun, yeah.
And creative, proactive, and resourceful to find solutions from a communication perspective. This, to me, is like a perfect summary. And in today's day and age, you have highlighted very important aspects that you bring to a job that you want to go for. So communications expert with more than 8 years of experience in public relations, marketing, journalism, and TV. Then I went into project summary. And in project summary, we had hospitality or journalism. And I went with journalism.
Yep.
Because I think that there is a lot of information, awards, things that show that you have done so many you have so many good achievements. One of the important ones here, I think, is the corporate social responsibility.
Which is really big in Australia.
Yeah.
Really big in Australia.
Yeah. And I think this is more and more coming into play as we are all reinventing ourselves. We are reinventing ourselves in this environment. But what is our corporate social responsibility? How does that fall into the new environment that you are operating today?
Yep.
So I think you have some really good points in there.
Yep. Can I just add something? I also love the doing words that you have in the beginning of each bullet point. Implemented, implementation, developed and implemented, correspondence, journalism, obtain blank award. I think those things are really doing things, which is what you want to have on your CV.
Absolutely.
The doing words, which we went over, by the way, people, a few sessions ago. Again, look on the website and you'll see that schedule of doing words.
Yeah. Which are really important because people see that they are achievements. You have accomplished that. It's not something that you are in the process of doing.
Exactly.
I think, as Jasmine said, is actioned. So that's really important. Yep. And then I went into the professional experience. Now, we reiterate that it is important that you give a small paragraph about what the organization or company that you worked for was about. Don't expect someone who is reading your CV to go onto Google and find the information, because they are not going to do that.
That's right.
They want everything available to read right there. Think of your LinkedIn profile, as we discussed with Jasmine and Carla. If you do your LinkedIn profile, everything is in there, the organization that you worked for. The difference is that you can click on the organization and it'll take you to the website. But on paper, that doesn't happen.
That's right.
Or on a digital document that you have to send as your CV, that doesn't happen. They won't be able to click. So a few words to show that you have taken the time to put your CV together. Okay, I think is important. And I reduced your amount of achievements, and I took what I thought was most important out of those points for your work experience. So in the first one, for example, increase the efficiency of customer service processes by implementing an information system. So because I didn't have the information, I would go as far as mentioning what the information system was. Was it Zoho? Was it Zoom? Was it Monday.com? Was it Google platform? What was it that you implemented? Because that shows that you are up with technology today, with what is happening. And this will look great on your CV. Increase the volume of customers by implementing customized packages for special occasions. What kind of special occasions? Birthdays, weddings. What was the specialty? Developed frequently asked questions to resolve customer issues. I think that's really good, because frequently asked questions means that you deal with complaints, that you deal with people asking questions, that you care about your clients or customers' feedback. And this is something important. Even if people are on social media, they have to respond to something that is not so good or maybe negative. Complaints need to be dealt with.
Yeah, I think also develop frequently asked questions to resolve customer issues indicates that the person has an overall understanding of the product or whatever it is they're dealing with. So it says that, oh yes, you have some knowledge and you're able to acquire knowledge about a particular job that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this one I like, develop the concept for audio-visual products to raise brand awareness. This is fantastic. You know, this is really, really good. But mention the audio-visual products. Don't leave it for someone to guess what they are.
Yes.
Tell them what they are. Be specific, because you know, some audio-visual product that you developed the concept of might be just the one that the person is looking for.
Exactly.
And that is why you're going to get the job. So I think the more detail you can put in there, the better it will be for you.
Yes.
Then integrated online and offline campaigns, social media, such as, what social media? Are we talking about Facebook? Are we talking about YouTube? Are we talking about Instagram? Show that you have knowledge. I love the fact that you put MailChimp. That's great, because that's an events email marketing.
Sure.
And a lot of companies here in Australia use that. And for what purpose? To increase the number of new customers. So you have to finish your sentence. Don't leave it open. So you stopped at MailChimp and then there was nothing. Just put the information there. What was the purpose? What did you achieve with that? So try and complete your thoughts.
Yep.
So then I went down with the other jobs. So for example, in the second one, provide the number of existing and a number of new customers in your portfolio. Be specific, because this was an insurance marketing. I used telemarketing leader. I think that would be the most appropriate word, because I think it had a word about appointment setter. And instead
yes, I remember that. Yep.
Instead of appointment setter, I thought telemarketing leader is actually much better, to put it that way. And lead survey and feedback analysis. Put the word analysis. It means that you are processing the information, that you are looking at statistics. This is good for that you are looking at data analysis. Provide the number of existing and number of new customers in your portfolio. Describe what your portfolio was. In what specific area? Was it home loans? Was it car insurance? Was it mining equipment insurance? What type of insurance? So that they know that you were working in a specific portfolio. Yeah. And in the telecommunication, I put more information in there for you to zoom in a bit more. So acted as a spokesperson for the organization in what event, for what purpose? Establish and drove a strong media presence and relationship with key stakeholders, both internally and externally. What was the key achievement from that? The fact that you established and drove a strong media presence, this is fantastic. This is really good. Draft press statements and other published material, provide information that has you as the author, if you can. You know, reference links where people can read your material.
Yes.
Yeah. And then create and prepare material for online channels. Which online channels? Online channels is too general. Name the online channels if you can. Was it Discovery? Was it National Geographic? What was it? I'm sure it was fantastic. But don't leave people guessing. Tell them what it was. Talk about your achievements. That's what people want to see. And in here, add a little bit more. I'm sure that you have training certificates. Maybe you belong to a chamber of commerce or a particular organization or anything like that. That always looks very good in your CV.
No, I think that's great. You did a great job, Elvira. That's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's great.
You're welcome.
So hopefully what we can do is we can get this back to Carla, and Carla, because you have her email address, you can go ahead and send that back to her.
Yes, of course.
And we can do it that way. Is that okay, Elvira?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll send it tonight.
Okay.
Yep. I hope she found the feedback useful.
I'm sure she did. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now let's you've done the CV, you've picked your template, you've written down your executive summary, you've gotten your key points of achievement for the job that you're applying for. Now it's time to prepare for the interview, which we talked a bit last week. So now I'm going to share the screen to look at, you know, what kind of questions do you need to be clear about what you're asking and what's going. So here are some questions. Be prepared to answer questions like the following. Why did you choose this particular vocation?
Jasmine, sorry to interrupt. Would you be able to zoom in into the document a little bit more? Because I know a lot of people watch the video on their mobile phones, so it might be a little bit tiny.
Okay.
Thank you.
How's that?
Yeah,
Is that
that's much better.
All right, great. So how did you choose this particular vocation? Why do you really want, what do you really want to do in life? Now sometimes that's a bit of a trick question, because people won't believe that you want to be, say, I don't know, in marketing or a psychologist, or some people might say, oh, well, you know, it's very nice. I'm glad I'm applying for this marketing job, but I really love massage. I want to be a massage therapist. And so it might be okay to say that as a hobby, but it's not okay necessarily, because it is a trick question, because people will say, why do you really want this job? And so why do you like to work? Why do you like to work for our company? So that you need to have that right on the tip of your tongue. Why do you want to be doing? What do you want to be doing in your career 5 years from now? That's a question I ask, and 10 years from now. And this is good because, you know, one of the things that I look for when it comes to, say, a property person that's applying for a property job, is I want to see if they have the perseverance and where they want to be from now. Are they ambitious? Are they interested in learning? Is that going to be, and pipe in, Elvira, when you see this, if you want to add something. What was the size of your last salary review? I tend to avoid this question if somebody wants to push it, because I think, ladies, I want you to check me when I answer this question. I usually kind of go around and say, well, salary is important, but the experience actually is more important to me. So I'm really interested in growing as an HR consultant and being able to provide HR consulting services to Sweden, let's say. Anybody want to add anything? Okay. What style of management gets the best from you? This is an important one because, you know, some people say, oh, well, any style, I can get along with anybody, but that's not really the issue. The issue is, you know, there are people that are very authoritarian. They're right on top of you when you do things. And there are other people that are a bit back, and they look back this way, and they let you go, and they give you the instructions, but they let you go. What kind of management suits you best? And that's something that you need to really consider, because everybody has a preference.
Yeah.
The next one is, what interests you about our product or service? Can you get recommendations from previous employers? What have you learned from some of the jobs you've held? What did you enjoy most? This is a question I ask. I ask, of all the jobs you've had, tell me the most fun thing that you've done. So I can get a feel for their sense of fun about work. Work needs to have a sense of fun about it. And it needs to be enjoyable, or you shouldn't be doing it. So there needs to be some joy there that I'm looking for. What did you enjoy most? What have you done which shows initiative in your career? What is your major weakness? I talked about this before when we were setting up the resume. Never, ever, 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 ever talk about any of your major weaknesses. Never. You always take that question and you reframe it. And you say, some of the things I'm working on are that I'm sometimes a bit too perfectionistic, and I want to make sure I finish a task. And so therefore, I think sometimes it's important for me to let go, even if I don't get to finish it. And that's how I would answer that question. What do you think determines a person's progress in a good company? Are you willing to relocate? How do you spend your spare time? What are your hobbies? So here's where massage, becoming a masseuse is a good one. My hobby, oh, well, I'm learning to do massage. Okay. What does teamwork mean to you? Really important word, teamwork. Have you saved any money? What entrepreneurial activities have you engaged in? Now, this is a very personal question. This question, and how many children do you have? Are you married? Do you plan on having babies? How old are you? Are questions that are actually illegal in Australia to ask. What type of books do you read? How many books do you read per year? So now these are not all the questions people are going to ask you, but some of the kind of weird way out questions that included in this list. So negative factors to watch for. During the course of an interview, the employer will be evaluating negative factors as well as positive attributes. List below. The list below are negative factors frequently sorry, I have to correct this or I'll go nuts. It's like I have to have my towels folded a certain way. The list below are negative, are negative factors frequently evaluated during the course of the interview and those which most often lead to rejection. A poor personal appearance. That will always get you out the door.
Yep.
Being overbearing, over-aggressive, conceited, being a know-it-all, having a superiority complex, inability to express thoughts clearly, poor poise, diction, or grammar. Diction is, hey man, how you doing? Well, man, I think I can do this job, you know, using lingo and all that stuff. That's not good diction. A lack of planning for career, no purpose or goals, lack of interest and enthusiasm, being passive and indifferent at the interview, a lack of confidence, a nervousness. It's okay to be nervous. We expect people to be nervous, but not so nervous that they, I can't remember the year I was in that job. What year was that? Oh my God, I can't remember. You know, that kind of stuff. Overemphasis on money, interested only in remuneration. Never discuss money in the first interview or the second interview. It's toward the end of your interview process, because sometimes people go through 4 and 5 interviews. And then we say, okay, this is what we'd like to offer you. Evasive, make excuses for unfavorable factors in record. In the CV, I should say. Let me just, sorry, I'm going to change this because it's kind of bugging me. Okay. Lack of tact or maturity or courtesy. Condemnations of past employers. I had somebody once come to me and say, oh my God, I worked for that company. Man, are they terrible. They treat their employees terribly. And I was just thinking, oh my God, if he feels that way, what's he going to feel like working for us? Failure to look the interviewer in the eye, or a limp, fishy handshake. They always shake hands in this country. And if you're not seen to be shaking hands properly, although now nobody shakes hands because of COVID, and of a lack of appreciation of the value of experience. Failure to ask questions about the job, persistent attitude of what can you do for me? Because you owe me. A lot of people approach the interview that way. A lack of preparation for the interview, failure to get information about the company, resulting in an inability to ask intelligent questions. So some of the questions might be, let's say I'm Google. Well, here at Google, we have everybody spend 10% of their working time on a project that has to do with social impact. What kind of projects have you been involved in before that you could contribute to Google as an employee? Now, if you don't know that they have that as part of their working life, you're in trouble, because they do. They expect every employee to have that 10% where they put back into society. So what questions do you ask?
Jasmine, before we move on.
Yep.
What would you answer to the, can you go to the top of the document just for a sec, please?
Sure.
To that dreaded question of how do you see yourself in 10 years? If you're like a 23-year-old that just moved countries and it's starting in a new industry, like what do you answer? Like how can employers expect young people to have that such a clear vision of how do you see yourself? Like what would be a good answer, and like trying to be yourself but also nailing the question, you know?
Yeah, I think if you're dealing with somebody that's educated and knows something, and I'll talk about myself for a minute because I'm very seasoned employer, I would say, and so is Elvira, we know that research tells us you're going to have 5 careers in your lifetime. We know this. If you're dealing with somebody that doesn't know this, it's important to say, well, you know, research says that people are going to have up to 5 careers in their lifetime. I'm really interested in this marketing position. because I have always been interested in marketing and I'd like to see where it takes me, but I'm not inflexible. I like to grow. So in 10 years from now, I think I'd like to be in a mid-management or a senior management position in a mid-sized company where I'm actually managing a team and I'm having really a lot of enjoying time with my team. I think I might also like to have a couple of kids if I can. So, and if I have a partner, because I don't have a partner yet. So these are the kind of, do you see how I did that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you don't
What did you
necessarily
notice?
have to be super specific.
No.
Okay.
So what did you notice about what I did?
You tried to sound that you actually know where you're going to. I don't know, like you weren't that specific, but you sounded that you had ambition and that you actually have a plan.
Exactly. And I educated the interviewer
Mm-hmm.
because I said, research says that we'll have,
Oh yeah, that's right.
my generation will have up to 5 jobs in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been interested in marketing, even when I was in high school. So I would really like to pursue this marketing position because I think I'd like to see where it takes me. Elvira, what do you think?
Personal development is what I read in that question.
Yeah,
and
that's
growth.
Right.
So the fact that you show that you still have to develop, you still have to grow as a person. And that might be positive for the company because they might want to mold you.
Exactly.
And help you grow into that mid-management, the high management position, as Jasmine basically mapped the road for the interviewer.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Be there with you.
Jasmine, maybe if you had plans to do your master's degree or some course, you would mention that in there as well, right?
I would. Absolutely. I'd say, well, I have a bachelor's, but I'm really interested. I like business a lot. So I think I might turn my hand and see if I could do an MBA. I don't want to do it next week, but I'd like to eventually try that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It shows that you're educated, that you're not afraid to educate yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Again, and that you have ambition.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Mm.
Also, sorry, before we move on to the questions that you should ask.
I think our time is getting less, and I think we can continue this next time. So that's
okay.
Yeah.
I want everybody to suck the juice out of this because it's really important stuff.
It is. There's also another question that maybe you should add to your list because I've had it every interview I've been to, and it's the first question and I hate it, and it's tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh my God, why do you where
there you go.
Where do you start? Do you start with your personal life or you go directly to who you are as a professional, or what should you say?
I would feed everything into the position that I'm applying for. Mm-hmm. I would keep my personal stuff a little bit away. I would mention 1 or 2 things, but I would not say, oh, and I got pregnant last year, and oh my God, and the baby was 9.5 months, 9.5 pounds, and it was huge. I couldn't believe it came out of me. That's not the way to go. Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I learned to speak English in the United States. English is my 5th language, and my parents for generations are from Colombia, South America. And I've been a psychologist for over 30 years, and I'm really interested in sitting on this committee to help Latin students get jobs.
I agree, Jasmine, and it's an opportunity for you to introduce what enhances you, what you want them to know that is most important about the CV that you have sent through. Don't forget that the interviewer will have read your CV. So if you say, tell me a little bit about yourself, and you're sort of muffling something that is not in the CV, they're going to pick that up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's one of the things my colleagues used to do in the property firm, my last job, is they used to find, oh, this is strange. Geez, they went to school here, but then they did this here. That doesn't match. So they want to know that you know, make sure that you on it. And we said this before, have them look at your resume 100 times. Have somebody look at your resume. Make sure that it makes sense to them. If it makes sense to you, it might not make sense to them, especially if you're not a first English speaker. I mean, so you know, I'm not a first English speaker, and I have my own persons that look over my work just to make sure I'm saying the proper words, even though my diction is okay.
Yeah. Same here. English is not my first language. I totally agree with Jasmine. So what you want is, tell me a little bit about yourself. What makes you different from everybody else? Perhaps is tell me a little bit about yourself. Like Jasmine, who introduced herself, you know, that you were from the United States, that, you know, you spoke different languages, maybe that, and use that opportunity to perhaps break the ice as well.
Yes.
Because you're in a setting where everybody, you know, where you're like this, oh my God.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Something that'll break the ice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully you have done your homework about your interviewer and you know what they like.
Yeah.
And perhaps tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, my name is Carla, and you know, I'm originally from Mexico. I've been living here for a few years, and I'm interested in this line of work. I am very passionate about my personal development. I am looking to start a new MBA degree, and you know,
I'm a people person. I love to work with people. Tend to get along with most people, and I just, you know, I like to work in a group. I think that's where my skills are, is working with people.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes the interviewer will you know, make a comment that will throw you off. Did you see the game last night? Did you see, you know, Carlton versus the Tigers? And
yes.
Like, oh, I don't follow the footy.
That's the one thing that people can get me on. I can't stand sports. The only sports I like is tennis. I like a bit of soccer and a bit of basketball. But other than that, am I going to stay home to watch a game? I don't think so. I'd rather be out dancing. Really.
Yeah, I agree.
Doing a bit of, you know.
Salsa.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So.
All right.
So does that help, honey?
Yeah, it does.
Good.
Also, I'm not sure how common this is, but I've heard that some interviewers use different strategies to test you. And like sometimes interviews can play a little bit of the bad cop. So like how should you react in those situations? Like, because I've heard stories of people that go into interviews and they literally just interrupt them a lot and just act very uninterested. And I've heard that is actually a strategy from the interviewer to know how you react. How would you what would you recommend in those situations?
I think it's poise. Poise is where somebody's talking, you know, and they're asking you this, but they're really asking you 6 questions, and you need to just sit there and go, I'm not sure which question you'd like me to answer. Would you like me to answer the first one, or would you like me to answer the third one? You know, just making it clear. Okay, well, if you're asking me this, then I think that, you know, and giving that response. I think that sometimes, people like that try to catch you on something. I get that some people, and I met someone recently, and I don't just work in the property industry, but I got an interesting case of a guy that works in a real estate organization. And you know, it's like I got that when he interviews people, he's really like, "Where were you the night of the 23rd?" You know, kind of stuff, as opposed to, you know, very kind of confronting. And I think so long as you smile and you're composed and you're like, it's okay. I'm going to have a pina colada when I walk out of this room. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to have un vinito and I'll be fine, you know? But really, it's a lot about self-talk with yourself. And especially if you have an opportunity to debrief with someone when you leave an interview, that's the best thing you can do.
And don't be afraid to ask, can you please repeat the question?
That's right.
Or don't be afraid to say, would you mind rephrasing the question, because this is what I'm understanding. I just want to confirm that this is what you're asking me.
Exactly.
Before you answer something, because that gives you time to take a breather. Don't be afraid to do that. People don't expect you to, you know, come up, particularly, you know, like Jasmine said, where were you the night of the 23rd?
Oh, I need to compose myself.
So don't be afraid to do that.
So these are some of the things. I want to save some other questions that for you for next time, but these at least will, because I don't want to rush through everything. I want everybody to digest things. And thank you, Carla, for stopping us, because I think we're so excited with what we're doing. You know, sometimes we rush through things. So I think it's important to kind of, thank God we have a compere, you know, to kind of pull us back and say, hang on, guys. So I'm wondering if we can stop here, if it's okay, and just get questions from people.
Yep. Let me share my questions screen.
And I'll get out of here.
So if anybody that's watching us have any questions, please type it in the comments, and I'll read them out for Elvira and Jasmine. Let me share this screen.
And also having, the more interviews you have, the better you're going to feel. It's like finding a boyfriend, you know? The more people you go out with, the more distinctions you can make about a nice guy that's going to pop into your world. And the more you can say, oh, I like him because I've been out with these other guys and this guy really is nice. And it's the same thing with interviews. The more interviews you have, the more you prepare for interviews, the better you'll interview. The more interviews you have, the better chance you have at getting a job that you want. What do you think, Elvira?
Yeah, I completely agree. And when you have an interview, don't be afraid to discuss questions with a person. If you ask questions and if you discuss the question, it means that you're interested in your job. You know, I usually say that an interview that goes for 45 minutes, an hour, is actually a good sign.
Yes, it is.
It means that, you know, the person found you interesting. You had topics to discuss about the potential of being an employee in that organization. So don't be in a rush to just answer the questions and get out.
That's right. That's right.
Take your time.
That's right.
Yeah. Once my dad has a really good friend that he was the head of HR in a really big company, and once I asked him for advice for interviews, and he told me that an interview is like a date. Like you're trying to that person to fall in love with you in a way, and you have to be very mindful of the other person's style, their reactions, how even their own style whilst talking. Like maybe they're a very casual person, and you should adapt to their way of how they develop their conversation. Whereas if you're with a very formal person, you should adapt to that as well. So it's just like treat it as a date.
Yeah. We call it in English establishing rapport. Can you establish rapport with someone you don't know? So I'm just thinking, in my line of work, I meet all kinds of people daily. So I have to be able to kind of establish rapport and feel okay about and build like a mini relationship. And establishing rapport is really important as human beings.
We have a couple of questions coming in, guys. So Angelica Rodriguez is asking us.
Angelica.
She's asking, I would like to know how to handle the lack of fluency in English. Sometimes I feel that I have the enthusiasm and knowledge, but my English does not help me. Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Elvira, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Angelica, I think one of the most important things is to pace yourself in an interview. Don't be in a rush to answer. I think that people understand that English is not your first language. One of the points that I would make is for you to not emphasize that. Instead of emphasizing that you can't speak English, don't mention that at all, and just take your time answering the question and ask the person, can you please repeat the question? Don't be afraid to do that, because people will probably rephrase it in a different way and give you more confidence to answer.
Yeah, I was gonna, it's funny because I'm in two minds about, you know, if somebody isn't fluent in English, the interviewer might get irritated. I think you need to show your enthusiasm. I also think it's important to put on your resume that you are doing English language studies, because I think if that's the case, you need to emphasize that in your resume in the back of your CV. And I agree. I don't think you need to make excuses, but if you smile and you say, oh, yes, I'm very interested, and you know something about the job and you know the words, because knowing the words of the job are really important.
Yeah.
I agree. And also, I think, if I may add, guys, maybe just practice the questions. Like, write down your own answers in your own words and practice that, because usually a job interview, a job interview will usually have similar questions. Like, so just have like an arsenal of of answers, and that will help you with your fluency as well when you have practiced something beforehand. I think that could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Plus you have a divine name. I love the name Angelica.
I know, it sounds so powerful.
Qué lindo, ¿no? Angelica. Oh, I love it.
I know. We have another question from Nancy. She's asking, how would you sell yourself if you're a recent graduate and you do not have any experience? That's interesting.
Okay. You realize that it's an entry-level position you're applying for. And you realize that you have, and having a degree is a big thing, sweetheart. Don't ever, we can't demean that. That's a really big thing to have a degree and to get through to have a degree. So I don't know. I think I probably would talk about my interests and some of the things that I enjoyed in my studies. Like I did really well in statistics. I really like maths, if you want to be, say, an entry-level researcher. And I actually got A in statistics. So I really thought, because I really love statistics, I'd love to see how I could apply research in psychology. So I thought I would apply for this entry-level position. So I think, what do you think, Elvira?
I completely agree with you. Discuss, some of the subjects that are of interest to you, and perhaps anything that you might have done outside of studies that may be of interest.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
yeah, because that shows that you are not only studying, but
Mm-hmm.
you have other interests that
Mm-hmm.
help your personal development. So
Mm.
anything that you can enhance
That's right.
with that, I think will support your interview.
Mm. So there you go.
Carla, you look very intense in there.
Yeah, my internet is saying it's unstable, so I'm a little
Okay.
bit
No,
worried this is
no,
gonna drop out.
we can
But
hear you, honey.
you guys can hear me fine?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I panicked for a second. I was like,
No,
no.
no worries. No worries.
Um,
So
we don't have any more questions for now,
that's good. That's good. That means we can go home.
and we are right on time this time.
Yay!
We are right on time this time. So thank you everyone that is watching us. I'm gonna put on the screen right now all of our contact details. So we have a Facebook page, which is where you guys are watching us. We have an Instagram page as well, and I'm gonna leave you guys my email over there if you have any questions, anything at all that you want to ask us or tell us. Please send us a message in one of those platforms.
Yep.
I really want to thank you everyone for watching us tonight and for being consistently coming back. It feels really great to see the same names over and over popping in the comments, which means we are actually adding value to you guys, and
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
that I just want to say this because maybe a lot of people don't know, but Elvira and Jasmine are doing this for completely free. They are volunteering just because they actually want to help you and they want to share this very valuable information. So really, you guys, it's really great that you are taking advantage of it. So thank you again, Jasmine and Elvira. It's been wonderful to have you
Thank you,
guys. And
Carla.
we still have 3 sessions left of this masterclass series. Um, we are gonna change the schedule a little bit, so we're gonna do these sessions once a fortnight, not weekly. So we're gonna upload on our social media when these sessions are gonna be happening. So stay tuned. And I also wanted to remind you guys, we as an organization, we have a fundraising campaign to help international students that have been having trouble with getting food and groceries during this pandemic. So if you want to donate or if you want to apply to be a beneficiary of this campaign, please send us a message. We are more than happy to help. It's receiving e-vouchers for food. So if you're struggling, please send us a message. You are not alone. We are here to help you, and there's a lot of people that want to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
That's it. Adios, mi gente.
Adios, mi gente. Take care. Stay safe.
Take care.
Guys, you down there in Victoria, there's
Yes, I
apparently
know.
a second wave. Stay home, stay safe, because
Yes.
this is not a joke.
Yes, I know. I know it isn't. So
I
take
hope
care,
everybody stays
everybody.
safe, and
Yep.
thank you so much for watching.
Okay. See
Be
you.
safe, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.